What's up? So Andrew Tate has actually been in the news recently because he was arrested in Romania.
Controversial influencer Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan are arrested in Romania as part of a human trafficking probe.
Because it's official that Andrew Tate has been arrested in Romania on human trafficking charges alongside his brother.
If I had actually hurt anybody, the Romanian police would have me in jail.
And that's apparently just what happened, as controversial influencer Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan are reportedly busted on sex trafficking allegations.
Controversial online influencer and self-confessed misogynist is facing charges this morning for human trafficking, rape, and organized crime. Andrew Tate was among 4 suspects arrested last night in Romania.
Online influencer Andrew Tate has been detained in Romania as part of a human trafficking and rape investigation. Mr. Tate was arrested.
The top G himself was arrested. God, why do I make these videos? Did I just say top G? Anyway, though that he has been arrested, I did kind of want to look at the top G himself and self-proclaimed mafia boss.
We are basically as mafia as you can get. So I guess I'm mafia.
And see how exactly he runs his businesses and if there's anything at all you could take from this guy. Because, I mean, he's worth $700 million. Seriously? Wait, did I read that right? Yeah, he's worth $700 million. So I'm just looking at what he did as a businessman and to see the legal side, at least, what exactly he did to make his money and if any of the principles that he did could apply to us. What does Andrew Tate do? Kickboxing, casinos, OnlyFans, self-proclaimed misogynist. What does this guy not do, besides stop talking? 4-time world kickboxing champion, where he would make around $100K a fight. So he made his money through multiple different avenues. That's off. To quote him, focus on speed, keep your expenses low, and figure out how you're getting paid. These lessons are what made me rich. The dude owns over 12 casinos in Romania that make around $1 million in revenue per month. My favorite and his most famous venture currently is Hustlers University, the real world, the War Room. Well, for example, the War Room costs about $4,500 to join, and that particularly only has around 4,000 members. His most famous one is Hustlers University, which has about 18 different ways to make money, where he has over 200,000 members, all paying $50 a month. Sorry to interrupt, I'm editing this video, and I realized I didn't really mention the fact that I do not think you should join Hustlers University, like, whatsoever. You're hearing this and you're like, oh, I kind of want to get into that. Don't. There's hundreds of YouTube videos explaining how much of a scam it is and how kind of terrible it is. And the only reason I'm really talking about Andrew Tate is not because I agree with his values or what he did or anything like that. Honestly, I don't know what he did, and I actively kind of avoid his crap, but I do think he's an interesting character that kind of took the internet by storm. And though I don't really agree with anything that he necessarily says, if you're trying to make money, wait till the end of the video to see how to actually do that, and maybe don't get into his scam. Anyway, back to the video. To translate, that's about $10 million in revenue from just this one source. He also has things like Top G merch and things like that, and he used to have more of a social media presence, though he does have deals going on continuing his media presence. That the Tate brothers, specifically Andrew Tate, what can they teach us about business? Because obviously $700 million is a lot of money. Okay, so I think there are about 4 principles that we could apply to our businesses that we can take kind of from what he's done in his life. So what are the 4 tips? Let's look at them. Keep your expenses low and raise your income power. Diversify your income streams so that you aren't reliant on just one. Find ways to automate those income streams so that you don't have to manually get paid. And be disciplined in everything that you do, even if you might not think it would apply to business. Okay, so let's talk about the first one. Keep your expenses low and raise your income power. Andrew regularly mentions this dish that he and his brother would eat called flavor.
Food used to be a big deal. So my brother and I, we've always lived together. And when we were broke, we invented a dish that was so bland, we called it flavor. It was the only way you could add flavor to the dish. So it had the name flavor. And it was white rice, frozen peas, kidney beans, more protein per 100 grams than minced beef. Did you know that? I found out when I was broke, walking the aisles at a grocery store, trying to find the cheapest protein money can buy. If I was really rich, I'd have hot sauce. But that was like $2 or $3. It was just purely taste. I couldn't often afford that. So for a good 3-year period of my life, I lived on this flavor.
And this kind of goes to show that they saved their money slowly over time by cutting back on their expenses, even the most basic things like food, cutting down, saving as much as they could so they had cash to deploy should the opportunity arise. Raising your income power while lowering your expenses allows you to have more capital to deploy in things that make you money. And then that brings us into point number 2, diversify your income streams so that you're not just relying on one. This is one thing that I think is definitely applicable to all of us, not just entrepreneurs, is diversifying your income. Especially if you're an employee, finding a way to move away from just having one income source, but having multiple, not just from your job, but from investments, side hustles, selling off things you don't use, used items, things like that, maybe renting a property or something like that. Small little things that over time place where if your income goes away, you're still making enough to live and maybe even more. Think about it kind of like this. Here's you, and then you have all 4 of these different, you have your main job, your main income, and then you have investments that makes you, a couple bucks. You have a side hustle that makes you about $10,000 a year, and then you sell off all your old goods so that you're not keeping all the things you don't use, but they make you money and they add back. Now that might be a one-time or 2 or 3 times a year kind of thing, but at least it adds value and adds money back to your bank account when all that stuff would really just sit there. This one tip, even if you're not an entrepreneur, could double and even triple your income and just instantly, basically. And that brings us to our third point. Find ways to automate those streams of income that you just got. You hear this term passive income a lot, and while personally I don't think that you can get to a point where it's 100% automatic, I do think you can find a point where you're making a lot of your money with very, very little constant input. So you can set up businesses while they might take a lot upfront, or maybe just side hustles that take a little bit upfront. Eventually you can get to the point where you just have to collect the money, and that's basically it. Finding things like this, though challenging in the beginning, once you find the things that can be close to passive income, you end up automating those streams where they go directly to your bank account or you just pick up a check. Andrew has dozens of businesses, from casinos to bars to things like that, and he owns all of these running for him, where they just send him a check, basically. Now, I want you to look at your own business or businesses and see how can you apply these things to your level. And that brings us to point number 4. Be disciplined in all that you do, even in areas that you might not think apply, because those skills transfer over. Okay, so I want to talk about discipline for just a second. I've noticed that when you're disciplined in one area, it overlaps in pretty much the rest of your life. Whether it be the gym, your eating, your sleep, whatever it may be, being disciplined is a skill that can transfer anywhere that you work. Say what you will about Andrew Tate, but one thing you cannot argue, he's in shape, he's a chess player, he's an entrepreneur, and he's just well-versed in everything that he does. Finding a way to be disciplined transfers all over. I've noticed that in my life, say what you will about the guy, but his discipline in chess and fighting and business and just life in general transfers over to all facets of his life, and you can see it very obviously. The man is disciplined and the man is skilled. So seeing this success in just his life, and even in my own life, from the way that I eat and my fitness and everything like that, seeing that discipline has transferred over because I build these daily habits that then affect my business dramatically. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you want to see more of these videos of blank taught me how to run my business, definitely leave a like, comment down below who you want to see next. I'm thinking Mr. Beast, but let me know what you guys think about that. Again, I don't necessarily support any of his values. I have my own thought. Again, I don't necessarily support any of his values either way. I have my opinions on the guy, but that will be for another time. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching today's video. Let me know your thoughts on him as an entrepreneur, businessman, and if you want to leave his thoughts as a person, let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of him? Do you think he should have been banned off of the internet? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Leave a like and consider subscribing down below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Adios.